All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta Design Review Board virtual meeting. This morning, it's February 19th, 2021. So here we go again. It'll be a virtual meeting this morning. So Brett's going to be our meeting monitor as we move forward. And we ask that everybody continue to keep their videos off. And if they can mute themselves unless they're speaking, that will be great as well. So, all right, let's get going here. First order of business is a call to order. So I'm going to go down the roll. I'm going to call your name, and if you'll just say that you're here or present, or let me know that you're with us this morning. Okay, Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Corkill.
He's here.
Very good. Mr. Owens.
Here.
Miss Palmer.
Here.
Miss Rocco.
Here.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Swing.
Here.
And Richard Kramer, that's me, I'm here. We don't need any, and we don't have any alternates with us this morning, so we have a quorum. Very good, thank you for doing that this morning. All right, our next order of business, we typically do the Pledge of Allegiance, but since that's very difficult to do while we're virtually, I'm going to ask that we just have a moment of silence, and that'll be to kind of thank and say thank you, and we appreciate those frontline workers, the health and safety workers that are keeping us safe from COVID or administering vaccinations, and our public safety, all the public safety officials that are out there. So let's just have a moment of silence, please, for them. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Next item of business is, do we have any items from staff members this morning? Brett or Ellie or Mr. Woodman? Anybody?
I don't believe anything. I don't think there's anything. Ellie, did you have anything?
No.
Okay.
Hear me? No.
Very good. Okay, fantastic. And are there any items from board members this morning? Anybody? Any items? All right, very good. No birthdays or anything? Okay, all right. Next item of business is our last meeting, January 15th, 2021. We have draft meeting minutes that Ellie has produced for us. I assume everybody's had a chance to look at those.
I did notice that Richard got nominated twice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
He deserved it.
I can fix that.
Thank you.
I'll go take a break then, since he's going to cover both bases.
Okay, so we need to make that correction, and actually under the motion under the second motion that was for Roger Brown to be vice chair, I noticed that Mr. Owens' name was incorrectly, his last name was incorrectly spelled. So if you'll add an S to his last name, Ellie.
Will do.
There's only one Owen, not two of them.
There's a
Richard, you get a prize for that.
I know.
very good. Okay. Any other items, any other issues or items with the meeting minutes? There being none, does somebody want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 2021 with the changes noted in the conversation today. And a motion.
Okay.
Very good.
Who was that? Chairman Brown?
Roger.
Okay.
I think I heard a second from Mr. Brown. So we have a motion from Ms. Rocco and a second from Mr. Brown. Let me make a note here to approve the January 15th, 2021 meeting minutes. Any questions or comments about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. and this will be like a roll call again. If you'll say yay or nay. Mr. Brown,
Yay.
Mr. Corkle,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Miss Palmer,
Yes.
Miss Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Richard Kramer. Yes. All right.
Mr.
Meeting minutes
Kramer,
are
one,
approved. Yep.
one quick note I think could help that go a little bit quicker is if you just ask for nays. Give a second, and if nobody speaks up, then I think that could make that go quicker because everybody's got to try to figure out how to turn their mute back off, and
Okay. I guess that's.
you don't have to, but
I'll second that.
Okay. All right. We got the meeting minutes done. All right. On to our first applicant this morning. It's going to be the Veterinary Emergency Group. So if you will, I'm going to turn my video off. And if you will turn your sound on, I guess that's the designer person listed on our screen.
That's it.
Tim, you can share your screen then too,
Oh, all right. Let me see how I can do that. All right. Let me see what screen you guys are going to have.
or I can do it either way.
Let's see if that's working.
There we go.
You see me over there?
Yes.
All righty. So good morning, everyone. My name is Tim Bichek. I'm from Signs Inc. Basically, it's the exterior signage for the Veterinary Emergency Group coming to your town, take care of all the local vet emergencies. But basically what we're doing is illuminated channel letters, flush mounted to the building, so there'll be no raceway. That's the first. I don't know if you want me to go through all the pages for the window lettering at the same time, or do you want
We don't need to do the window lettering.
Right.
Okay.
That's within the code, but the
Okay.
monument sign,
Okay.
they need to do this in the monument.
All right, so let me show you the monument. So the monument, basically, there's an existing monument sign that's there, and we're just replacing the bottom panel that was there. The same colors on the panel. It's just 1/8 inch thick composite material that'll be screwed right in, just like the existing, with vinyl lettering.
So I have a question about that one, Tim.
Sure.
It's Brett. Is there a way, we're trying to really step up the game of signage in Alpharetta. Is there a
Okay.
way to tweak that sign? I mean, I know it's internally illuminated. So is there a way to make that opaque background and just the letters shine through with the current cabinet construction, or is that impossible?
We can do what they call as a stencil cut. So just the lettering will light at night. So the black lettering will actually illuminate white at night, and the red will illuminate red. So it'd be, in essence, it'd be an aluminum background. The letters get cut out, and then it gets acrylic from behind, and that'll just the letters will illuminate.
Is that what our board would recognize as a push through?
It's sort of like a push through. The difference with a push through is when the acrylic actually pushes through.
Okay,
so
this one would just be acrylic flush.
right, flush. If you wanted to do push through, we could do push through also. You know, typically it's like a 1/2 inch push through.
Tim or Brett, this is Richard Kramer. So the existing sign that's there now, the Alpharetta Eye Clinic, I guess it's, is that, are you going to do the same type of sign? I mean, is it a push through, or is it looks like there's a light at the base of the sign too. So it's lit from the ground.
Yeah, you know what? I don't believe,
It
I don't
may
think
not
this
be
is,
internal.
okay, yeah, I didn't think this is not internally. I'm sorry, I got confused there then.
Okay,
This is not
perfect.
internally illuminated. When you said that, it threw me off a little bit. So yeah, it's just regular ground light. So so it's just a panel. It's just a panel that mounts right on there. So it'll be lit from the outside source.
Okay, any way of attempting to match up those panel colors in the background?
I just think it's the picture is bad. It appears to be like beige, but it's actually white. Because
Okay.
it's just the way the picture went through. So it would be the same color as what's there.
Okay,
So these are just flat vinyl lettering on a piece of acrylic?
On a panel, yeah. It's actually composite, so it's like an aluminum background with a plastic core.
So I mean, one way to step it up is to make it more three-dimensional, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could do, if you wanted to go to another level, we could do raised letters on top of that, meaning we do the panel. You know, we could even do the panel, maybe a 1/2 inch thick panel, and then do 1/2 inch thick raised lettering on that. That's a nice look too.
Yeah, I don't know what that Alpharetta I sign is. I haven't looked at it that closely. In the picture, it almost looks like that one's three-dimensional, like it has standoff letters.
When I had the survey done, I don't believe it was, but you know, I could do a little research.
well, if we get this one, then that gives me opportunity to talk to Alpharetta I to see if, if we can get them to step up too.
Right, yep.
Yeah, and I could talk to the veterinary. They're in contact with the landlord, and I could suggest that you guys wanted to replace both of them to give it a new look for the monument.
That would be even better.
Yeah.
What would we call that technique we just described, that approach to making the sign?
They're actually, it would be called they're pin letters. So pin meaning that there's pins in the back that gets mounted to the background. So it'd just be a 1/2 inch raised pin letter mounted to the 1/2 inch background.
So Brett, would you feel comfortable if we kind of make sure you have the final approval on that? Staff has final approval?
Yeah, I think so. That's fine. I can do that when we do the permit.
Okay. All right, any other questions from board members about either the monument sign or the building signs?
Yeah, just when we talk about the pin letters, what about the logo? Would that the same thing?
Yes, that's raised also. So the way we do a lot of in the interior of the store now, we do the logo, everything inside. So what the red was raised, the VEG and the paw of life is cut out. So that'll be the background, and then the paw itself is raised also. So it gives it a nice 3D look. It doesn't look like just a square stuck on there.
Okay, I mean, I was specifically talking about the monument sign. You would do if we do the pin letters on the monument sign. I don't know if you were referring to the monument sign or the building.
That I was referring to the monument sign.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, good deal. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions from board members this morning? All right, does somebody want to craft a motion for us, please?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 210008, Vet Emergency Group, motion to approve the building sign as submitted. And I'm waiting for Ellie to tell me she's ready for me to continue.
How are you
Go
doing,
ahead,
Alan?
Frank. I've got it.
Okay, and approve the monument sign
Sorry.
with the condition that it be constructed with 1/2 inch raised pin letters versus vinyl. Versus applied vinyl, I guess is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. End of motion.
With the condition that it be constructed with 1/2 inch raised pin
1/2
letters
inch.
versus applied vinyl.
Correct.
Okay.
With final approval by staff.
Okay,
Motion second by Owens.
all right, very good. We have a motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Mr. Owens. Any other comments or questions about the motion? All right, there being none, I'm going to ask that all board members quickly turn on their audio, and I'll do a roll call vote here. All right, Mr. Brown,
Hey,
Mr. Corkle,
Yes, approved.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Mr. Kramer, myself, yes. Motion passes 7-0. Very good. Tim,
All right,
thank you
guys.
for your time this morning.
Thank you too. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. All right.
Did we approve the Was that the building and monument sign? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. The building was as submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. All right, our next applicant this morning is going to be Alpharetta First United Methodist Church. Brett, do we have somebody from the church here this
Should
morning?
be Mark should be on.
Mark.
I'm here.
All right. Mark, if you're with us and can hear us, if you will introduce yourself this morning, and then Brett's going to give you control of the screen or your monitor so you can just quickly review the application for us this morning.
Great, will do. Mark Camerata here with Black Dog Sign Company. We're local to Alpharetta, representing Alpharetta Methodist, and a submission for wall signs for their main entrance along both North Main Street and Cumming. Let me grab the screen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are you guys able to see that?
Not yet.
Not
Okay,
yet.
one more step.
There we go.
All right. Yes.
All right. So what we're proposing is all aluminum constructed reverse channel letters painted with a halo effect. So no front illumination. So colors are black, white, and a shade of red to match the branding for Alpharetta Methodist. There is a 2 layers for the logo portion with the cross on it. The cross is in white, which will also cast a shadow or a halo on the AM that you see in the picture.
Okay.
That is the North Main Street sign on the main portion of the new portion of the building that was just added.
Okay. Any questions from board members this morning?
Yeah,
about
Mark,
that sign?
Mark, this is Roger Brown. The space on each side of, let's say Alpharetta Methodist, how much is between the end of the ladder and the column? It looks pretty narrow.
There is, I can confirm it, but it is closer to about 10 inches on each side.
Okay.
So Mark, this is Richard. I actually measured the distance between the 2 pilasters there, and it was 180 inches. So that leaves 13 inches. Yes. So that's, you divide that by 2, that's 6.5.
6.5 inches.
Yeah, I just thought this looks pretty tight. Looks like it's been squeezed in there. And I didn't measure this, looking at this sign, if it was to give it a little bit more room on either side before you hit the pilasters, if it's the width of that window, that storefront window wall system. Do you know what that is from left to right?
I don't know it offhand, but we could certainly look at that.
I like their sheet.
That might give it a little bit more room on either end between the pilasters. And then also, I know there's at the top of the window, the gable part of the window has a keystone up there as well. So it looks like it's intruding or laying on top of the keystone.
It would be right above that keystone. It would not go over the keystone.
Okay.
It'll be set above the keystone.
Just trying to make sure it looks like it was planned for that area.
Absolutely. And they are pin mounted, so they will be sitting off the wall by 1.5 inches. So you do have some dimension there.
Because that wall actually has a curve to it as well.
It does have a slight curve, correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from board members on the North Main Street elevation?
I'll just second the thought that I think if it was scaled down a bit, it would definitely look better. It does look too too tight.
Just trying to get the proportions a little bit better.
Yeah, I think just a little more space on the sides. I agree with the comment that if it was about the width of the window, I think it would look more in proportion.
I agree.
Okay, doke. All right, Mark, let's go to the Cumming Street side then.
So similar construction, but again, to give it uniformity and to center it within that new portion of the building, we've stacked it. But other than that, the construction is the same. It's all aluminum painted construction, reverse lit channel letters.
Okay, and this is one elevation. I was not able to measure between the pilasters for this one, so I don't know what the distance is at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely there's more spacing here, obviously, with the stacked version.
Just, yeah, just looking down below at the pair of doors down there, the entrance doors, those are usually 3 feet wide each. So you've got 6 feet, then you've got side lights there.
Yeah, now. So it's probably a minimum of closer to 10 feet.
And that sign is 96 inches, so it's 8
Correct.
feet. Okay.
Yeah, it would seem perhaps if you had at least a foot of space on each side,
Mhm.
that would, and if it's 10 feet and this is 8 feet, it would satisfy that. But
Yep. Okay.
it would seem like at least a foot would be good.
Yeah. We can make sure that.
This is a good slide to point out the perception I have about the color of the Alpharetta of the AM. The red in the larger AM on this slide is a different tone than the red in the center. The red in the center is very bright and seems to contrast with the overall color tones of the building. The large AM in this slide seems to, the larger AM is a better complement to the overall color scheme of the church itself.
Kind of a maroonish color almost.
And that color is more reflective of the exact color that it will be. It is more of a maroon color.
Okay. What I noticed about this initially are the panel signs on the street on each corner. The red there is very striking, and it seems to it does stand apart from the overall color tone of the building. But as you say, Mark, that is the larger color sample here, although we're not holding it in our hands and looking at it. That color appears to fit the composition of the church itself.
And we do have a PMS color assigned to this that does a tie to that, so we will be able to match that precisely. It's
What is that?
going to have that darker tone to it.
And what is that PMS color?
It's 200C.
I guess since we can't see it, I'd suggest perhaps that color sample be submitted to staff for final approval.
Yeah, we can do that.
Makes sense. Okay, good comments, Mr. Owens and Mr. Swing. Any other comments about the two wall signs? All right, there being none, does somebody want to craft a motion?
Well,
I will submit a motion that for DRB 210007, the new applied signage for the Alpharetta First Methodist Church be approved as submitted with the comment about the color submittal to staff.
All right, is that end of motion?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
second from Palmer.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Owens and a second by Ms. Palmer.
So there was a lot of discussion about comments of scaling down and
I guess I'd like to offer a friendly amendment that the Main Street side sign have a width similar to the window. And on the Cumming Street side, we ensure at least 1 foot of space between the sign and the columns.
Thank you, Frank. Good point to add.
Okay, can you repeat that? Just, that was kind of quick.
Yeah, certainly. That the sign on the Main Street side have a width similar to the window.
Okay,
And on the Cumming Street side, they ensure that the sign has at least 1 foot of space between the edge of the sign and the columns.
Okay, and while Ellie's doing that, Mr. Owens, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Absolutely, I accept it. It was my oversight to not include that.
Okay, just want to be sure. Very good. All right. Ellie, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good, okay. Any other comments or questions about the motion along with the friendly amendment? There being none, I'll call for a vote, and if everybody can turn on their audio quickly, I'll do a roll call. All right, Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Corkle,
Yes, approve.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes,
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Mr. Kramer, me, yes. All right, motion and the friendly amendment pass 7-0. Very good. Thanks for your time this morning, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, very good. All right, our next applicant this morning is going to be, is it Pasador Brazilian Steakhouse? I'm not sure who's representing them. Brett, do you have somebody online here that will be representing them?
Yes, this is Kai Bickers representing Pasador, 2355 Mansell Road.
Oh, good. All right, very good. Welcome. If Brett's going to allow you to share your screen so you can pull up the application on your monitor, and then we can all look at that. So bear with Brett here as he does that.
He should be ready to go.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Not yet. There may be one more box you have to check or allow us to see that.
For some reason it's not working.
Okay. Brett, do you want to take over then with the application? Okay. All right, Cy, we'll let Brett control the monitor and the screen, and then we'll let you talk about each of the slides he pulls up. So let him get to the application here in just a minute. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so I think we're looking at elevation A201 here first. Obviously, we had a full brown building that we have already painted and Sherwin-Williams color white. softened the building, left the upper trim lines, left all the other remaining accent colors. Showing the new signage basically in the same locations as previous. And that really continues with the next elevation, A202, around the building. Just softening all of that full brown to a accented crown molding brown. All the stone existing remain.
So the awnings remain as they are, the canopies.
That is correct.
All right. The stone.
Only changes is just the white on the stucco main part of the building and the sign.
Okay, very good. All right.
And the cap on the monument sign is being painted the same color as the building?
That's correct.
Okay.
They were waiting for it to be taken off, and obviously approvals at this point.
Okay.
Si, one of the things I did notice that now that you've, first of all, next time you go to change the color, exterior color and painting your building, you need to come before the design review board first, rather than do it in reverse. Although we've had some folks do that, and the color that they chose was not very pleasing, so to speak. So a lot of headache there, but I think the white has certainly cleaned up the building a little bit too. One thing I did notice, they did paint the white around the existing signs, and your signs now are a different size and shape and configuration of what's there now. So they'll be coming back, it looks like, to repaint the white area, those white areas where the existing sign is.
That is correct.
Okay.
So again, our apologies on that. We did get the building owner approval, but just didn't follow up with that.
Very good. And another thing I noticed as I drove around the building yesterday was, looks like you've been trying to repair the dumpster gates there. And so there's some unpainted wood materials on the dumpster that I assume you'll be painting to match the remainder of the dumpster gates.
Correct, some cleanup work.
Okay. And then Brett, has there been anything, did David look at any landscaping out there? Is there any landscaping that needs to be, needs a little bit of help?
I have not been able to get him out there currently, so I would just ask that go in a motion that it get evaluated by the applicant's landscape architect, landscape arborist, and a report sent over to us.
Okie doke. All right. Are there any other comments or questions from board members about the application? And let's look at the, Brett, let's pull up the signs just a minute, or go to the sign. There we go. Okay. Going to be a halo glow sign. All right.
Yeah, it'll be halo, and it'll also have some light coming through, like the white parts you see, the light will come through that, and it'll halo around the entire thing. So it's going to do both. Am I describing that right, Mr. Rogers?
I'm not sure if he's able to connect, but
Okay.
I think he was trying to do it through his phone.
So Brett, you said that the white or some of the white portions they're actually cut out so the light would silhouette through?
The white will shine white.
But
And
it says it's white and black area painted opaque.
Well, just the black area, yeah.
Black, and I
No,
think the white
because
around the cow.
Yeah, just the black area around the cow. but the cow itself will illuminate from behind.
Yeah, and the orange
And the orange will illuminate from behind, and the letters also.
and the letters.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said cut out, and then, yeah, you're correct there.
Just trying to figure out what you said and what it says.
it's
I
two
wanted
different-
to, so initially the applicant applied for a box sign. So it would have been this shape with just all vinyl on it. And I said that wasn't going to work in the area with the North Point guidelines, that, you know, we need to step up the signage. So I think this is a step up. There's, I would have liked to have seen it better, but I think with their logo shape, it really doesn't lend to a whole bunch of abilities to do signage. So I think this is pretty decent. It's going to look better at night, I think, than it looks during the day. But it is what it is.
Okay, very good. All right, isn't there another page of signage?
There's the monument sign.
That's right. Okay.
I had a question on the building when you're ready to go back to that.
Or let's see, so is the monument sign, that's a cabinet. Is that cabinet, I guess it's lit, okay.
It is, and that already exists, so I felt like we should let them keep that, but if y'all want to change it, I'm up for it. It currently would not meet the unique design of the North Point area, but since the monument existed internally illuminated.
So is the proposal on the monument sign to paint the background, the Sherwin-Williams 6320, or is it to go white?
No, the background would be the 6320 around it, and then the logo area itself would have a white portion.
Okay. And the cap of the sign would be the white of the building.
No, all that trim has been left the original color.
Same as the trim on the building.
Correct.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like the cap should be, is it painted to match the building?
It is.
It is now, but since you painted the building white, the cap is still the old color of the building, right?
But the trim, again, the cap of the building remained the old color as well.
Oh, so the cap on the sign matches the cap color on the building, not the, it looked like it was the field color that you've changed to white. Okay.
Is it the SW Sherwin-Williams 6320? Does it match any like awnings or anything like that on the building, or it's just its own separate color?
I believe it matches the accent brown of the shutters and some of the other trim work that's there existing.
The 6320, looks like kind of a dark maroon or something.
That's correct. Like that you have underneath the, if you look back at the elevations where kind of around the windows, you have your wood trim pieces.
Oh, okay.
Underneath the roof lines and all of the wood that's there. That's where that color came from.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right.
Yeah, so that color, that 6320, when you look it up, it's called Bravado Red.
Bravado Red.
63, Sherwin-Williams 6320, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when you look it up online, it says, it looks like it's more of a reddish color.
Is there any way the applicant can show the colors on a screen or something like that, other than just a printout of a PDF. This is
I
this
mean,
one I struggle with virtually.
We could submit it if you wanted. We could submit color.
I'll tell you,
We're going to drop them off.
I'll tell you, on the Sherwin-Williams website, it looks completely different than the rendering in the presentation here. It looks like a red color.
Okay. I mean, it's possible the number was written down incorrectly. It should match the building, the brown of the existing building.
Yeah, it must be the wrong color number because it doesn't, I don't think it matches at all.
What brown are you saying that it should match on the existing building?
There's trim, the trim work that's underneath your tile roofs there.
So
Looks like a dark color.
And is that the same trim that's underneath the cornice
That's correct.
color?
so you're saying it matches this cornice color up here.
No, I'm sorry, it's darker than your top cornice. It's a darker brown. So again, I'm not sure the sign man is the one that put the actual number, Mr. Rogers, which again is apparently not available to connect, but and we can specify that it matched that trim, or again, we're more than willing to submit color samples to the city for final approval.
So you have, okay, so this is more, so you're saying the trim color, which is like these columns and this, whatever this is at the bottom here, then you've got a white you've done, and then you're leaving the coping color or the top, the existing. Is that what you're
That is
saying
correct.
there?
That is correct.
And so then on the monument,
You're matching your darkest.
is matching the dark parts like underneath this.
Correct. That's exactly right.
I guess the window trim and the
Yeah,
columns.
window trim,
Mhm.
shutters, stuff like that.
So it sounds like we need to have the right color number.
Well,
Actually,
it may be, and that may be a little more red color underneath there. I'm not
it's
sure.
dark.
But if it's gonna match it, I think that's up to the applicant, because if I go out there and it doesn't match it, then they're gonna have to repaint it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you all would approve that background with the color they've chosen, and when I do the final and it doesn't match that, which I assume before that, Mr. Bickers or the applicant would have said, hey, that's not quite right, we gotta redo that, but I would have the final on it. My question was, and it came up with a couple of people from staff, what can we do with these mirrors? Because that definitely does not go with the look of the building.
Glad you brought that up. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of the mirrors?
They've been there. I mean, we didn't design or build the building. Obviously, it's an existing structure.
Yeah, the North Point Diner had the mirrors put in, and it went with the diner look, but I don't really think it goes with the Brazilian Steakhouse look.
I mean, I guess the easiest application at this point is to come up with some type of film to film over it, right?
Or not make them as reflective as they are.
What if it was just white?
That's what I was thinking. What if you just paint it white? Or put
I
white
don't know if
vinyl on it?
I don't know if it'll stay or what the effect the painting mirror has. So that's why I was saying a film. Maybe we could just film it opaque or something.
Film it white.
Yeah.
And speaking of white, I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump back to the monument sign. It sure would make your sign stand out if the background on the monument sign was painted the white of the building.
And we have no problem with that. If you,
That's what I was thinking,
if that's more desirable, then it really matches up with the building.
Then your sign stands out during the day because it looks like it's hard to read. Although,
Yeah, that's a good point. You kind of have brown on brown the way it is now.
I
So
know,
we're not opposed to that.
we're jumping around, but sorry.
That's all right.
All right. Any other comments? So we've got to approve the painting of the building that they've already done. And then we've got the 2 building signs to approve. We've got the monument sign to approve. And then there's some work. We got the landscaping, if there's any dead or dying landscaping that needs to be replaced. And then some of the repair work that's happening on the dumpster.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, regarding 210003, which is the Pasador Brazilian Steakhouse. Make the motion that we approve the elevation change to white as shown in the application, with the conditions that,
Okay, hold on.
okay,
Okay,
with the conditions of 1, that the mirrors will have a white film application put over the mirrors. 2, that
hold on.
okay, keep forgetting you're trying to write it down.
Mirrors will have a white film application over the mirrors.
Yeah.
Okay,
2, the dumpster gates needs to be, the wood needs painted white.
Painted to match.
Or
The-
painted to match.
Yep.
And let's see, I had another one here. Oh, applicant would also touch up the white on the building, which is behind and around the building signs. In the
Don't-
motion.
Don't,
hold on a second. Applicant will also touch up the white, which is behind and around the building sign.
Yes,
the existing
yeah, they
building
do.
signs.
As well, we're gonna paint the monument white, not the brown.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We haven't got to
Okay,
the signage
sorry.
yet. End of that
Okay,
motion.
Ellie?
applicant- Hold on, applicant will also touch up white which is behind and around existing building sign.
Correct.
Okay,
Roger, can I
Really?
ask you this? Instead of doing 2 motions, can we continue with your motion and go ahead and include signage?
Oh, I was, but I always thought Ellie wants to keep, we wanted to keep them separate, but I can't.
Well, now that we're virtual and trying to do 1 round of votes, I just was trying to be,
I did end a motion, but.
it's just kind of hard because if someone has a friendly amendment, I'd rather try to keep them separate if we possibly can.
Can somebody read back the motion?
Yes, I'll read what I have. Mirrors will have a white film application over the mirrors. Dumpster gate would need to be painted to match, and then I put in parentheses, white. Applicant will also touch up white, which is backing and around existing building sign, back of and around existing building sign.
Okay, hang on, Ellie,
Mm-hmm.
your in parentheses white would be, in parentheses would be existing.
Okay,
and the very beginning of that motion was to approve the exterior elevation
right.
change.
The
to
elevation
what-
change to white as
Yep.
shown in application.
All right.
Do we want to add the landscaping condition to this motion? Because other than
I
that,
think Roger already ended the motion, but.
Well, we'll put it on the
We
next
could do
motion.
it. We could do a friendly amendment. I'm just, where do we want to put that?
You can put it with signage, it's fine.
Put it with
Yeah.
signage?
Okay, we do have a motion on the floor by Mr. Brown. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. Frank.
Okay. All right, Frank, thank you. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Brown and a second by Mr. Swing. Any further comments or questions about the motion on the floor? All right, so if board members will turn on their audio, we'll do a roll call vote. here we go. Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear Pat.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you ask for it. Yes.
Yes, okay.
Here, Steve.
Mr. Owens,
Yeah, yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Richard Kramer, yes. All right, motion passes 7-0. Very good. All right, one more motion. Don't forget the landscaping.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 210003 Pasador Brazilian Steakhouse, motion to approve the building and monument sign as submitted with the following conditions.
Hold on one second. Okay,
The background on the monument sign will be painted white to match the building.
okay, hold on. Okay,
And the applicant will have the landscape evaluated by a landscape architect and submitted to staff.
Or arborist.
For arborist,
we'll have a landscape.
landscape architect or arborist. Evaluate the landscaping and submit it to, I'm sorry, was your point, Brett, to submit it to the city arborist or to staff?
Submit it to me, to staff.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, to staff.
Okay, I'm gonna read it back. Applicant will have landscape evaluated by landscape architect or arborist and submit to staff for approval.
Yes, end of motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Need a second, please.
Yeah, no, I've got something to ask though.
Is that a second, Pat?
So I'll second, but I've got a
Okay.
question.
All right, very good. Question, comments? Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, didn't we want to include something in there about the color needed to match the existing trim color for staff to review?
The color.
We have
Well,
the
we changed- but they
discrepancy in the
changed that-
SW 6320, what it matches, what it doesn't match.
We
He
changed
changed that to white, though.
Yeah, the motion said that the background will be white to match the building white. So that'll be the color, not
So SW 6320 is called out, it's now going to be white?
correct.
Yes.
That is gonna pose a problem with the white wall and the white background.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I might have missed that. I don't like that. Anyway.
Well, no, there is no, the sign, if you look at the picture, is surrounded by brown. The sign is brown with white lettering, so on a white background, it stands out just fine. In
It
fact,
still looked like the wall.
Up 6320 and it wasn't the right color.
That was the original discussion, but
But
then,
Yeah, the motion says
Right.
background on monument sign will be painted white to match the building.
it'll look like just that right in the bottom right. No, there, right there.
yeah, it'll look just like the building.
Mhm.
No, I'm talking about the monument sign.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, we are too. If you paint the background of the monument sign white, it'll look just like the building sign, right? It'll be that same sign on a white background, just like the building.
I got you.
See what I mean?
I do. I just missed that one in the discussion, I suppose.
Okay.
A whole lot of white out in the landscape.
All right. Any other questions or comments about the motion? All right, there being none, so I'll ask board members to turn on their audio so we can do a roll call vote. All right, let me know your vote. Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Corkle,
Yes.
Mr. Owens. Mr. Owens. We'll come back to Mr. Owens. Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
Richard Kramer, yes. All right. Mr. Owens, Richard Owens, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Motion passes 7-0. All All right, very good. Gentlemen, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did we put
For
anything?
bearing with.
Okay, we got it. We got it all.
Okay. Okay. It's a few minutes after 10. Is our next applicant ready to go, Brett? I'll tell you what, does anybody need to take a short, a very, very short restroom break, board members?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, coffee break would be nice.
Okay. Let's take a maximum of a 5-minute recess. And this will allow, we'll go ahead and get our next applicant up and he can get his, Brett can share the monitor with him, but we'll take a 5-minute recess. Brett, if you can work with Stephen or the folks on the Julio Jones Kia to get that pulled up for us.
Brett, did you make any more coffee before I go out and get it?
I didn't, sorry. Steven, are you there, Steve? Hey, Steve, are you there?
It looks like he's on mute.
Mr. Ellis.
Stephen Ellis, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Brett wants to, he's going to let you share your screen with us so we can get set up for your application. We're taking a short recess right now.
Yeah, I ran to the restroom. That's all I wasn't here when you said that. I've been listening in and I was like, okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
All right, can you see my screen?
It's coming up. Yep, we got you.
And I think, Stephen, this is gonna be a wholesale approval for this, for the Julio Jones dealership.
Yeah, we were before you guys on November 20th.
Right. Right, and it looks like the site plan has changed, landscaping slightly changed with the site plan, the building's changed. So we're gonna have to go through the whole shebang.
Yeah, you want me to start from scratch or just kind of point out the differences?
I want you to start from with the site plan and just point out the differences for the site plan, and then we can jump to the landscape and what the differences are, and then jump to the exterior elevations.
Gotcha.
So let's wait a couple more minutes, though, Steve, to get the rest of
Yeah, wait till everybody gets back. I got you.
Right. Good.
And hey, Richard, there's just so you guys know, and I'll point this out, two of the conditions from last time, we failed to get into this modification. So one was the photometrics sidewalk down to 1 foot candle, and one was a landscape comment to switch out Zelkovas along the street.
Okay.
If we can just continue with those conditions, we'll get it modified, obviously, before we go to permit.
All right, fellow board members, how are we looking?
I'm here.
Okay, got 3 of us.
Frank is back.
4,
Back.
5.
Richard's here.
6. Guess, is it Katie that we're still missing or Holly?
Holly's here.
Oh, good.
Katie, I don't think Katie has responded.
All right. Let's wait. We'll wait one more minute for Katie. Everybody else is here. Bear with us, Stephen.
No worries.
Katie, are you back yet?
I'm here.
Oh, good. All right. The gang's all here. So let's end our recess and get going again with the next application. So this will be Julio Jones Kia. And we have Stephen Ellis with us this morning representing the applicant. He's pulled up on his monitor of the application. So Stephen, I'll turn it over to you to review our package, please.
Perfect. Thank you, Richard. Good morning, board members. I appreciate your time this morning to hear our project. Again, we were before you previously in November. At the time we presented, then it was Carriage Kia of Alpharetta. Since then, our client has negotiated with Julio Jones, and he's going to be the name representing this Kia store here in Alpharetta. We're pretty excited about that. So same site, it's here on West Side Park. Can you guys see my hand?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll kind of direct that way. So the same site that we presented previously, it's here on West Side Parkway, just beyond Mansell. This here is kind of what I would say is the automotive, cluster along Mansell Road. I think the Maserati dealership is here on West Side, and our property is here. Across the street is the hotel. Next door is the self-storage. And I believe this is a collision center that's here across the street. So between November and this application, we dug in a little deeper into some site geotechnical investigations and some other things. Our previous application, the building was in the same place. So the major building has not moved. Our previous application had a basement where we were storing cars. We had basically under building basement parking. But as we did our geotechnical investigation, we found out that there was a significant amount of rock on the site, and just to overcome that site condition just became a cost issue that we couldn't overcome. So we've modified the design to have the same Kia store. So the showroom is the same. The front portion of the site is the same, but it will in this area here, and you'll understand better as we get to some other slides. But this zone here is a 2-tier parking structure above the service component of the dealership. Couple of differences in the site plan. This zone here is virtually unchanged. It's double loaded parking along the street for display. This side over here to the east, we did have quadruple stacked parking there previously. That was going to cause some operational issues, and I think you guys had mentioned it as well. It wasn't really desirable, even though you did approve it. So we've pulled that back to just standard double stack parking. And then in the rear of the property previously, this drive came around, and right here is where we had the car wash detail component kind of in the back corner detached from the building. The drive went around and back underneath kind of a central drive that went down below to the basement. Now this drive is level for all intents and purposes around the building. So the grade is flat around the building. We've relocated the car wash detail component to this portion of the site. And one of the comments on our previous site plan or condition was to move the dumpster. We had the dumpster, I believe, located up here in the Georgia Power easement. We've pulled it back around behind the corner of the building so that it is out of sight from the right of way. So this is where the dumpster is located now. And because this is not a sloped drive going down below, we've added some parking here at the rear of the building. For our landscape plan, the landscape plan is basically the same. It's really just been modified to accommodate the new site configuration. So the majority of the plantings here in the front are as they were previously. I was mentioning to Richard and Brett, one of the conditions of the landscape approval in November was to switch out the Zelkovas along the street. I believe we're still showing those now. Yes, we are, but we will obviously adhere to that original condition, and we'll swap out the Zelkovas along the front of the street. And then we have some plantings here. We were able to get a few more plantings here in the rear of the property, behind the parking in the rear.
Steven, it looked like your new landscape has dogwoods along the street.
Let's go back and see.
According to the legend.
Oh, Richard, you are correct. Sorry about, I saw the Zelkova still here. Yeah, I misread the legend there. Sorry about that. You are correct. So we do have dogwoods along the street here. And then there are the Brandywine red maples are what I would call it in the landscape strip there behind the sidewalk. So the street trees are dogwoods. Thanks for that clarification, Richard.
Okay.
Here is our our elevations. So the dealership portion here is unchanged. The materials that we're proposing on the building are the same as we were proposing previously, the two colors of brick here. We do have the cornice at the top now that's at the top of the parking deck, and that would be a part of the precast system, but to represent a limestone material to appear that way. The base, previously we had a split face CMU. We had a condition, you guys put a condition last time that we agreed to have a cast stone base with a bullnose cap. So that is what we're proposing. And we will select a stone and bring that sample to staff for final approval to ensure that it is complementary with our brick material that we're proposing on the service shop. So here we do have some windows on this level going into the actual service shop to bring some natural light in there. And then we're replicating those windows above. And these windows, these are actually openings where we'll put some frames in, but not glass. So they will appear as windows, but it will be open air for the parking structure. So that's the rear facade. You can see the ramp for the deck going up, the entrance out of the service drive. This is the southeast elevation and the southwest elevation. And all these materials are brick with the cast stone on all three sides.
Mr. Stellis, this is Roger Brown. Are we going to see the cars up on the roof?
Absolutely. Oh no, are you going to be able to see them?
Yeah.
No.
Are they fully hidden?
Yes, they're fully hidden. And I have some graphics and 3D graphics representing that.
And what about lighting up there?
We will not put any vertical lighting on the roof. We will have some security night lighting around, just around the edge of the parapet shining straight down, but you will not see any light on the roof.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So three sides brick. On the back we have stucco, very similar to our previous application. So here is a perspective view from the entrance. You can see the monument sign and the service sign, and the Kia Julio Jones sign is here, similar to our previous configuration. It said carriage, but now we're changing it to the name of Julio Jones. Here's another view. You can see the trees there kind of grayed out. Another view from the drive that goes over to the self-storage. Here is a bird's eye view representing as accurately as we can the actual trees and plantings that are being proposed on the landscape plan. And here you can kind of see where the cars are on the roof. We have no vertical light poles, nothing that will protrude above the parapet. There's a view from the back so you can see where the ramp is. Here's the dumpster enclosure that will be concealed around the back of the building. There's another view. Here is a view showing the cars. They'll be concealed by the parapet, the rooftop units as well. Here's another view, just kind of comparing that this is the view here and then a see-through, showing that the cars should not protrude above the parapet. And we will we'll definitely confirm that with finality when we get to the final permitting stage. But the goal is for none of the cars to be seen from the street. Here's our signage package that is very similar to what we had previously. The only difference is it's changed from Carriage to Julio Jones. And this is our photometric package that was just adjusted for the new configuration. There was a condition previously to have the sidewalk reduced to 1 foot candle. I see that we did not accomplish that in this photometric, but we are glad to continue with that condition going forward, and we'll adjust the final photometrics when we get to the point of permit approval. And with that, that wraps up my presentation. So if you guys have questions, and let me know what sheet you'd like me to start with for entertaining questions from the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for that. All right, board members, questions, comments, concerns? How about we start with the site plan? Any issues with the site plan from anybody?
None
Looks
here.
like they've moved the dumpster like we asked them to do.
But a real quick question, sort of a general question.
Yes.
One of the advantages of working from the home office and looking at things, I brought up Google Earth. Behind this, which is Plan Project South, is West Side Way, and it dead ends to the back side of this project.
Right here.
Right. And that Rock Mill Way and all. And so anyway, what is the distance from the dead end or West Side Way to the back side of your project? Is what I'm after is, what are the views once all those trees are gone and your project is in? What are the views from West Side Way back to the back side of your building?
I don't have that exact information at my fingertips currently, but what I can tell you is this property, the property we're purchasing, I believe, is around 6 acres and change. This line here is the line, that heavy dash line is the line of the floodplain. And there's a creek back here and there's a stream buffer. So there's a significant amount of property behind our development that's going to remain in its natural state, which is back here. So I haven't been to the end of West Side Way to see what to see what the view would be, but there's, I mean, I'd venture there's several hundred feet of, I mean, that's a 50-foot wide easement. There's several hundred feet behind our property that's going to remain in a natural vegetated state.
Okay, and off of West Side Way, there's an office building there. I don't know. I think it's 2 stories, 3 stories. Yeah. So what I'm getting at is, when all that's down, and there's a building there, I just want to see what at some point when we get to the landscape, I want to see if there's anything back there that can help screen the backside of your building from existing properties. So
gotcha. There's Killer Creek runs right through here, and there's a 175-foot buffer on each side.
Understood.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you want to look at the landscape plan? Is that your question?
No, not yet. We're still on site. I was just wondering if you knew what that distance might be. Sounds like
from the creek center line to here is 175, and I would assume it's similar on the opposite side. So that's why I think it's well over 200 feet.
All right. Any other site questions at this point? All right, let's go to the landscape plan.
Can we talk about building elevations first, Richard?
Certainly.
I guess I'll kick it off. I'm not real thrilled with the view straight in your main entrance of the parking deck, and I guess it's the lack of fenestration on that parking deck view as you come in, and that's one of your main street views.
Come out here?
Because there's a drive aisle, yeah, just because there's a drive aisle view straight up into the building. That view right there, I'm not overly excited about that long stretch of parking deck view and lack of fenestration on that deck.
Okay. I mean, what we've tried to do here is we do have the cast stone base two colors of brick with some accent coursing. The windows and then the obviously the cornice here on the top. But definitely open for suggestions if there's something that you think.
Stephen, this is Richard. So on your previous elevations, you had a green wall, or you had sections or panels of a green wall there.
Correct. Now we're definitely open to still doing that. One of the comments previously was it's facing the north, which it is. We may be faced with a challenge of what plantings can actually thrive there. Obviously, I can work with Peter Frawley to select something, or we could potentially have to select a creeping or growing vine that would thrive there. So sure, we're open to putting the green screens back if that's something that you guys think.
How much? So I got two questions for that. And there's what's your planting space at the base of that deck? And then the second is, I think we can add, for lack of a better term, evergreen buffering or screening in that parking lot island directly across.
Here?
Right.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sure, again, the view to me is just, it's very blasé. I mean, when you look at that, we got to, in my opinion, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but it just is, there's just nothing there that is really conducive to that look through.
Yeah, I concur. It's sort of a large mass of building that looks too plain. And I know you've got some, there's a couple of different types of brick, and you've got the base, and but it feels to me like visually it needs, if it was broken up either vertically or horizontally, with some fenestration, something that makes it look less as one big mass. It's so large now because it's gotten taller and longer,
right?
That it feels like the size it was before. I think it was fine. Now it's so much. It's a large mass of building that looks a little sort of monotonous, just sort of the same all the way across. And I don't know. I'm not personally a fan of green walls because vines never seem to work out.
Right.
And I agree, Frank. I'm less about these green walls and the recent failure of that project on the corner of Webb and Morris.
Yeah.
Every time I drive by that one, I just look at it. There's just a green toned wall, and so these green screens. I'm less and less for, because they just never work out.
Yeah.
You do have a pattern setting up. If you go back to the previous perspective, there's a pattern set up with joints between some of those openings.
Here.
Yes, they could possibly be changed in texture or tone that might accomplish what we're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or even some three-dimensional movement on the face.
Right. Yeah, we could pop out. Exactly. We could come. Pop out here, and here, and alter the texture and the tone of those three, and then it doesn't become this big, blank wall, as you guys are saying. And then I think I agree. I'm not sure who was saying this, but this area here, we could select the landscaping to be a little more evergreen, to screen a little better from the street, because we do have two layers. You have the layer of the landscaping of the street and the layer of the landscaping here. This road being a few feet higher, you're sloping down here. This road's at about 1,006. Our finished floor is at 1,002. So our finished floor is 4 feet lower. So when you curve here, this surface is about 4 feet higher than the grade there. So I think enhancing this landscaping here, make it a little more robust, and the fact that it's already elevated would aid in that respect as well.
And if in that area, when you plant that, if the planting could be 3 feet tall and it would cover the front ends of the cars.
Correct. We could plant more mature plants in, in its initial phase here in this zone, so that they would begin to function immediately.
Good comments, Pat and Richard. All right, anything else from board members? Any landscaping comments, for instance? We kind of.
Is there still Zelkovas in the landscaping? I know you took them off the streetscape, but
I saw them here, Zelkovas.
yeah, and I personally don't care if you have them elsewhere on the property. I will just, I think
It looks like there are a few here, one here, two.
I know we talked about this last time. I have personal experience with Zelkova because I have them in my yard, and it's a messy tree. It drops small branches all the time.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, and for new cars, I mean, it's not dropping huge branches, but I don't know what it is about the tree, that type of tree, but it just seems like every time the wind blows, I'm out there picking up small branches off the lawn. So something to think about. And our tree is not, it's not in a situation where it would, something would be distressing it. I think it's just the way they are. I don't know if Mr. Corporal or Mr. Owens have any experience with that, but I'll tell you, ours is always dropping branches.
The aspect of the Zelkova is that, and trees of that type, they have a lot of internal branching that competes with each other.
Yep.
And that can grow together, so it causes die out, which it takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes extra effort, but if there's enough pruning in those internal branching, it can improve that condition.
Yeah, and we've pruned ours. So I just don't know if you guys want to be bothered with that. I mean, it's nice because it's a more vertical tree, right?
Right. Yeah, we don't.
Anyway.
I don't like the branches falling on the new cars. So.
Yeah, it's just I'm not sure it's a situation you want to have, but up to you. I mean, they're back on the property.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think we'll talk to the landscape architect, potentially just pull the Zelkovas with it. Exchange with it.
I have two comments or questions. And I agree with the Zelko. It's just not a great tree. The street trees. I mean, we've got dogwoods, and I think the Zelkova, I think you said those went away with maples, although the plan does not.
Yeah, the maples are here, and then the dogwoods are here. Because we have overhead power lines right there too, so we have to have something that stays fairly short, right? And
so I always ask the applicants: has existing street trees on either side of this project, or further down the street towards Mansell, has any of that existing streetscape trees, is any of that repeated here in as far as a theme being continued? Has that been looked at or studied, or is this, again, just kind of a standalone? You've got the storage place next door to it, which I think it's called Extra Space or something like that.
Correct.
Have those street trees been looked at, and are you repeating them on this side? I don't think there's any room for street trees. I haven't been across at the hotel. I think the hotel's right up on the street. But has any of that been looked at, and has any of that thematically duplicated here?
To tell you the truth, I believe it's a standalone. There's not any street trees at the hotel. I would have to ask the landscape architect, and we can definitely look at that and see if the same style and species is being carried over from the self-storage place.
Okay, and
across the street, I believe, is Roswell, right? So I don't even think across the street's Alpharetta.
Hold that view right there.
The self-storage has already landscaped all the way to your entrance.
Oh, they're here.
Yes, okay. That's done.
So these trees are existing. So to answer that question, then the landscape architect showing these trees similar, right?
He's showing them as new. So hold that view if you could. Back up just a second. I want to go back to that point about the view into the site. The street that tees into your entrance.
Here.
Yeah. Think about that view driving up that street, looking straight up the entrance, straight up on that elevation of the building. Again, it's, I can't stressed it enough. I'm just not a fan of that parking deck elevation as you look. I mean, especially as you come straight up that street. That's your view as you sit there at that light. I'm sure Kia likes it, but I'm not a fan of that view up on the parking deck. Okay, I would just say, just make sure you're thematically you're duplicating street trees.
Gotcha.
And that goes back down clear to Mansell. What are they doing down there? I think that dealership down there's just got that big, huge wall. Then can you walk me through the backside real quick? There's lots of plantings. And I want to know what those are, all those trees.
These
And
guys here.
yeah, maybe what percentage of those trees there are actually evergreen, again, from that view backside.
So those trees back there, these large ones here are Nuttall oaks. The eastern red cedars are here. So those are evergreen. So we've got, kind of an evergreen.
Good.
I want to say screen, right? Because all the ones that look like that guy there are eastern red cedars. So
good. Okay.
It's creating a screen at the base of the behind the development and in the flood zone there, wetlands, and then we have it here. Then there's some deciduous there sprinkled in. We have
good. And what's that hatch? What does that symbolize back there? You got the diagonal hatch
here.
No, beyond right there. What is that?
Right there. That is it's a good question. I think that's the flood zone. That's the floodplain, the flood zone. So we're having this line is the edge of the flood zone. So that's kind of why our development follows that line.
Gotcha.
The floodplain, we can't go see our property. Well, this one describes it a little better than one of your previous questions. You can see how much property we still have behind our development. Our property line's back here. Right. That we can't touch because it's all in the stream buffer and in the floodplain. And I'm sure that's replicated on the opposite side of Killer Creek as well.
Yeah, that's good. I like the cedars. And I'm looking at I think I'm seeing Zelkovas back in there too. Am I not?
Yeah, there's a few here. They're here and here, I believe.
Those are Zelkovas. So what are I wish I could point. What are those three? Oh, you zoomed out on me. What are those? There's three that are sitting right in the middle of those two parking bays. See there's two.
Right here?
There's three trees that sit along that horizontal line. Three. What are those? Bald
cypress.
Okay. All right. So they're not evergreen, but they're good. They're decent enough. Okay. I'm satisfied with that. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Any other landscaping comments? Thank you for that, Pat. Any other comments about anything? Signage?
We have a question from Michael Woodman. What is the other dash line going into the parking lot?
Here.
Other dash line going into the
yes.
parking lot.
That line there. I believe that's the impervious buffer. So our parking, our paving in this area, our parking area is going to have to be pervious. We'll have to pick some point and draw a line between standard paving and pervious paving.
Okay, there's no man-made structures allowed in the impervious setback.
No man-made structures allowed at all in the impervious setback. Okay.
Yes, Stephen, looks like on your original site plan, your road kind of followed that curvature or that contour there, and you stayed out of that area.
That is correct.
That may mean you need to squeeze that car wash building down or do something to get you passable.
They can deal with that at LDP.
Yeah. Roger, are you on the line?
Yes.
Roger Blackwell?
Yeah. Okay, I'm here.
I was gonna say, why you asking?
He's a civil engineer, sorry.
Roger.
So we can make that adjustment and pull that out of the impervious buffer. I wasn't aware that no man-made structures were allowed. I just thought that couldn't be impervious.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. That's the reason we're showing that. So, but we can adjust it to get out of that. We may have to move the car wash building to accomplish that, but
Yeah, we can
you
tweak
and I
that.
can.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, no. All right. Any other comments? Do we have any public comments? Anybody on from the general public, please raise your hand. Very good. Okay. No public comments. All right. Well, do we want to craft some motions here for this application, please?
Does it seem like with the site plan change, they may have to move the car wash. We talked about some changes to the facade that, are TBD. It kind of feels like a deferral to me.
Yeah.
Site
I
plan.
Agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 210006, Julio Jones Kia, motion to defer the site plan and building elevations and materials for the applicant to consider the comments from today, which include the following.
Hold on one second.
Holden.
Okay.
First, to address the intrusion of the parking lot on the impervious setback.
Okay.
And second, the facade of the parking deck and service area needs more variety. And I'll just leave it at that. I think they understand the discussion.
Okay.
All right, now that'll be end of motion.
Okay, we have a motion. I need a second, please.
Second by Rocco.
Okay, we'll go with, give it to Katie. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or discussions about the motion? The motion to defer site plan and exterior elevations. All right, there being none, I'll call for a vote. So if members will go ahead and unmute themselves. I'll do a roll call vote here. Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Corkle.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
Yes.
Ms. Palmer.
Yes.
Ms. Rocco.
Yes.
Mr. Swing.
Yes.
And Mr. Kramer, yes. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, we still got landscaping and signage and photometric.
Before I craft a landscape motion, I'm confused in the landscape plans. There's a black and white sheet that was submitted, which is L 1.1, which was submitted 11/13/2020. That's the date on it.
That was our previous.
It's the same date, but they don't exactly match.
Well, you look at the top right of the title block, should be another date in
Revision
there.
2/1/21. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But even that one doesn't reflect what you said. So I'm a little fuzzy as to what we're really looking at because I don't see a full landscape plan resubmittal. But anyway,
There was one. There is one. It was there was an L 1.1, another one, a revised
black
one.
and white, right?
Yes.
But they don't match.
The black and white doesn't match the colored one, is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
In this current submittal?
Yeah. Unless maybe I'm missing something. More.
Well, I think we only submitted color this time around.
No, you submitted a black and white too.
Okay.
There was an L 1.1 with the February 1st date.
Oh, I guess they match close enough. Anyway, I'll craft a motion. Something to keep note of is the city doesn't allow rock mulch. That's one more thing I just noticed. You got it on the back side of the building.
Oh, underneath the ramp.
And
Okay.
it's underneath the ramp. You might be
It's
right.
yeah, it's underneath the ramp of the parking structure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we talked about that with David and he was okay with that.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
kinda
yeah,
under here,
David-
you
David
won't
seems
see
to
it
look for those
everywhere. We
things.
just wanted something.
That makes sense. Okay. I'd like to make a motion on Kia dealership DRB 210006 regarding the landscape. Let me know when you're catching up here, Ellie.
I'm ready.
So we're deferring landscape. Applicant shall revise drawings to reflect our conversation
Hold on.
regarding.
Okay,
Regarding streetscape trees and theming the streetscape with existing trees along the corridor.
okay, hold on. And theming existing. I'm sorry, repeat that.
Theming the proposed trees with those in the existing corridor.
Okay,
And revising the landscape materials both in the island directly across from the parking deck providing a heavier screen
okay,
and at the base of the deck
okay,
with evergreen screen plants and self-clinging vines.
okay.
End of motion.
Owens, second.
Okay, very good. A motion by Mr. Corkle, second by Mr. Owens. Comments and questions about the motion to defer? There being none, if DRB members will unmute themselves, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Corkle,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Mr. Kramer, yes. All right, motion passes 7-0 for deferral. All right, we still have signage and site lighting.
Recording in progress.
Uh-oh. Although the site lighting, will the site lighting change because of the site plan, Stephen?
Yes. So we probably need to defer that as well.
Okay,
I mean, the light poles will change the location, especially in this area. So.
yeah, okay. So I guess we probably just defer for signage too.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 210006 Julio Jones Kia, I make the motion that we defer signage, and we defer photometrics to give applicant the chance to change the foot candles to 1 as it approaches the sidewalk in the motion.
Go on. The first signage and photometrics to give applicant a chance
To
to,
change the photometric plan, reduce where the foot candles go down to 1 foot candle at property line.
okay,
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I need a second, please.
Second by Rocco.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or questions about the motions or motion to defer? All right, if you'll unmute, DRB members, unmute your audio. I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Corkle,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Rocco,
Yes.
Mr. Swing,
Yes.
and Richard Kramer, yes. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, very good. Stephen, thank you for your time this morning. I guess we'll look for seeing you next month.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the input, guys. Thanks everybody on the board.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you for your time and your patience this morning. Very good.
Thanks.
Okay. Next applicant is Alpharetta Up on the Roof. Brett, do we have somebody representing the next applicant with us this morning?
This is Wilson Oswald with Up on the Roof Alpharetta, a partner, and I'll be presenting for y'all.
Oh, good, Wilson. Very good. Thank you. All right.
Thank y'all.
Brett is going to let you share your monitor so you can show us the, from your computer, show us the application. And if you'll walk us through that, please, Wilson.
Awesome. Are y'all able to see my screen currently?
Yes, we do.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all again. As I said, my name's Wilson Oswald. Thank you for this chance to present in front of you. We're going to be going into the Liberty Hall building on 33 South Main Street. We're so excited about this opportunity. Been working on it a while. We are requesting some exterior covering changes. As you can see on our rendering right here, this is an Equinox trellis system. And then also connecting to a awning roof that matches the existing shed roofing and architectural features already on the building. So the two real exterior changes we are looking at are this just covering system right here. I have some other plans and elevations that I submitted to y'all. This is just the interior plan that just sort of shows the dimension. This is Main Street of Alpharetta, and then City Hall would be this area, actually way over here on the other side. Just wanted to share with y'all, these are some perspective interior views. I know this is not what you're looking at, but it was in our presentation. Thought it'd be good for you to share. If you have any questions for us and anything that I can't answer, once I get into a little further elevations, we do have our architect and design studio, Gotch Studio on, and other partners on this call as well. So this is kind of the view. Obviously, this is a 5th floor rooftop. So it will be, this is more of a view if you're kind of standing, levitating on the 5th floor to see the louvered system that on the left side that can open and close, and then just the shed awning that matches.
So Wilson, those, I guess those existing chimneys, if I call them chimneys, are there now, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, all the existing, once I get through this, I can show you some pictures. I have some pictures of existing.
Oh, good.
What is existing, so you can kind of see the difference. The only request we are adding are these coverings that do not go above the elevation of those existing chimneys. This is under the Equinox louvered system. I know you're all looking for a material board as well. This will be the match of the standing seam for the awning roof, and this will be the trellis Equinox system, which will be more of a dark bronze and matching exactly the awning roof, the standing seam, which matches the color of the building and then the surrounding Alpharetta area. This will be the surface of the actual flooring of the roof. It's a membrane roof, and then on top, we will have this wood system that I actually have a picture of that was down at one point. And then that is an overall view of our proposal. Then
Wilson, just curious, how does the roof drain now?
the roof, it's a membrane here.
Okay, so it's got some internal roof drains, I guess, that you'll put you'll put some sleepers down and then put the flooring on top.
So they sit on, if you can see that, they sit on a raised kind of system to prevent uplift, and they kind of click into place. So this is a picture of what is existing right now. You can see a roof drain here, and Main Street is this way.
Okay.
And then this, they actually had at one point the actual flooring down. So this is what our flooring will look like. Pretty neat, we think.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have for y'all. I can answer any questions. Would love your input, and so excited to be part of the Alpharetta community. We already have a restaurant, a Roost Chris Steakhouse on Haynes Bridge, and this is our Up on the Roof restaurant, where we already have an existing restaurant in Greenville, South Carolina.
I think it looks very good. I mean, we won't see much of it from the ground. Maybe if you live in the apartments across the way, you'll see some of it, but I think it's very well done.
Awesome. Well, thank you all.
I agree. It looks good. I can't wait for you to open.
We're so excited. We're trying to get open as quick as we can, and want to provide to the Alpharetta community, and are so excited to continue to be a part of the Alpharetta community.
It's one operational question. I guess you'll have one elevator dedicated to the restaurant, or?
Correct. We'll have a 1-8 elevator that's the main entrance for Liberty Hall, that's in through the alleyway. And that will be the main entrance that we will work from. We have a service elevator that is also that we can use for excess, but our plan is to use the main elevator.
Okay, thanks.
A quick question for you, Wilson, on lighting, for instance. I guess you've got some outdoor seating there. Is that gonna be, are you planning to light that at nighttime, or is that?
So the Equinox system actually has lighting and fans associated with it. We can run lighting through that. So under the system, and then we're planning on having some LED Edison style underneath the shed awning.
So no lights out then of where you have some of the seating that's out in the open under the stars?
Currently, we're thinking about putting a little lighting, but the light from the restaurant will really illuminate that. We do want to put a little railing lighting to just signify at night that the railing is there. So we will have a little of that, kind of an LED strip kit.
Okay. And then are you having with your restaurant, obviously they have some grease hoods and exhaust hoods, but I guess that's already in place then.
We're actually, there's a hood that will not, let me go back to here. That was originally existing, that will sit below, any exhaust fan will sit below the highest elevation of the this chimney.
Okay, very good.
So everything will be hidden underneath any exhaust fans or extra. The hood will actually, it's a 13-foot hood that will sit right here. And we actually designed a exit for exit and egress, another exit hallway to make sure the space has perfect exit and egress per code and per safety.
Very good. Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions from board members this morning? So I guess we're approving
Exterior elevations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically though, the pergolas and the awnings.
Right.
With the associated lighting, right? That's the only changes.
Yeah. Brett, do we need to approve furniture? I don't even think you're not going to see it from street level.
Technically, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 210005, Alpharetta up on the roof, I make the motion that we approve the elevations and lighting as presented today. End of motion.
Owens, second.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Owens. Any other comments about the motion on the floor? All right. There being none, I'll call for a vote. So Design Review Board members will unmute. I'll do a roll call vote. This time I'm going to start from the bottom. Mr. Swing.
Yes.
Ms. Rocco.
Yes.
Ms. Palmer.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
Yes.
Mr. Corkle.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
And Richard Kramer, myself, yes. All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, very good, Wilson. Thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for bearing with us. We're looking forward to having a rooftop venue to eat and drink on.
We're so excited. Thank y'all so much, and we can't wait to continue to be part of the Alpharetta community.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Wilson.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. We're on the home stretch, folks. We've got one more applicant, and that will be Shake Shack. So let's see. It looks like we've got numerous people in the virtual meeting here. Brett, who's going to lead the charge for Shake Shack from the applicants?
I think Melanie will start out.
Yes, Brett, good morning. How are you?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Melanie. Then if you'll make sure you introduce yourself or introduce the team, and then Brett is going to let you, he'll share his screen with you, and then you can pull up the application and walk us through it, please.
Very good. Well, good morning. My name is Melanie Bagley. I am the development manager for the developer that will be constructing the site, permitting the project. And with me, I have a whole crew that I'm seeing on here. I have our construction manager. I have representatives from our real estate department. Terry Boomer from CCE Engineers is on. He is our civil engineer. I also see our architect on from Alpharetta Design Group as well. So they will be able to speak to any technical questions you may have. And yeah, we're excited to be here this morning.
Very good. All right. We like to start out, Melanie, with the site plan or the site if you can.
I will.
So, okay.
All right. So Brett, you're going to share your.
No, you can go ahead.
All right. Let me hit this. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Very good. So what we have here, as you all may know, is a redevelopment of an existing Burger King site. So we are working with some existing conditions here. The site, the Shake Shack concept, you will see includes a drive-through lane, which is relatively new to the Shake Shack concept. This drive-through lane it's not a situation where you would order at a menu board and then pick up your order. It is for people that have ordered online, and it's strictly for pickup purposes only. again, this is a new aspect of the Shake Shack concept, and we're rolling this out in Alpharetta, and so this is exciting for us here. You'll also see we have a very large patio. What I want to point out about this patio is that it straddles an existing stormwater easement that you can kind of see bisects the drive aisle there. The actual stormwater vault fronts the roadway, and the city engineers have asked us to accommodate that easement and reduce the overhang of our patio to ensure that no structures are infringing upon that easement. The site is perfectly parked per code, as I like to alliterate, and we feel that the site layout meets the intent of the ordinance of the city. You'll also notice there is an existing kind of at the bottom here. We are reusing, there was a monument there for Burger King, and we intend to utilize that same space for a monument as well. Are there any questions on the site plan? And if they are technical in nature, Mr. Boomer, I ask that you chime in as needed.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. Any site questions? Go ahead. Oh, maybe there.
I have one site question, please.
Go ahead, Richard.
There is a planted strip between the existing bank and your site. How far into that planting strip is your property? Like halfway, or does it go to the?
I see what you're asking.
To
Is
the
there going to be
curb.
an issue with sharing the maintenance of that landscape strip? I imagine
Correct.
where that question is going. It looks like it almost goes to their back of curb. Terry, are you able to speak to that? He may be on
The
mute.
distance is 2 feet to the bank back of curb, 5 feet to our back of curb. So that entire landscape strip will be redone.
Okay.
In hand.
Well, that's encouraging, because you're inheriting a tired landscape in that little zone. So it's good to see that you are in the position of improving that space.
Yes, improving and maintaining.
Question for you about the, looks like you've got a dumpster enclosure, maybe for trash and then recycling. Is that the intent? Is it a kind of a double with a wall in between?
Yes, sir. It will be fully screened. And I believe we also have landscaping there to help with the screening as well.
Okay. And I know those truck drivers aren't necessarily the most accurate.
Delicate.
Delicate, accurate. Yeah, you may, I know you've got a curb right there as they try to pull in and wheel in and then back out. So you may consider how that dumpster area is oriented.
Yes, my experience is that they need anywhere from 40 to 60 feet of clearance. I believe we have accommodated for that. In fact, I think we even reduced the radius on that planter. Terry, I don't know if you've run a truck turn as yet, but that may be something that we just need to double check. But I respect your statement. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then stormwater detention, obviously it's there now, and it looks like you're not putting any more pervious material in, or maybe you're having less pervious. I assume you're tying into the existing.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, any other site questions for the applicant this morning? All right. What's next, Melanie?
Next would be our architectural presentation. I'm going to start with the material sample board, if you will, and I apologize. I know we're all doing this virtually. Normally we would have some tangible materials for you, and I hope that In our next meeting, we will be able to do that. But as you can see, we are proposing a very neutral color palette and materials that we believe are high quality and in keeping with the design intent of the district guidelines. Are there any questions about the materials? I do want to point out this green screen that we're proposing. I don't have a spec for you as yet. I'm sure you're all familiar with this type of detail, this type of fixture. You will see it represented on the architectural elevations as well as in our landscape plan. I don't know if there's any questions on that. Again, I hope to have more of a better detail or specification for you all at our next meeting. So here is
going back, Melanie. I'm sorry,
Sure.
Melanie. Just going back and looking at the materials. So the B1 is a brick. That's a solid brick, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or both?
Yes, sir.
Well, see. So B1 is a solid brick. That's so it's inherently black, textured black. Okay, and then B2 is a brick that you're painting white.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So B2 gets painted white. So the mortar gets painted white. The brick gets painted white.
Yes,
For
sir.
the B1 with the brick, what kind of mortar are you proposing?
It will probably be a gray mortar. Archit, have you guys work? Archit is our architect that is working on this project. I don't know that we've gotten into the details of that as yet. Archit, have you had any
Yeah,
feedback?
good morning, everyone. Thank you for this
Sure.
Archit at ARIA Group, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to present. Agreed, Melanie, you were correct. It's a gray grout or mortar, not grout, and it is a face brick, both of them. We were actually looking to see if we could find an integral brick for the white too, but the idea of the design, as you'll see, is to make it look like it's been there for a long time and part of almost like an old window infill. So to enhance that experience, we thought a painted brick to match the facade would tie in better, almost look more real, that we are doing an adaptive reuse approach to the design.
Thank you, Archit.
Thank you. Okay, and it looks like the black, the B1 also has you've got some running bond in there, and then
Yeah.
you're changing the coursing there.
Yes, let me go to that.
I do have a photo that we actually, Melanie was correct, we sent a material board over for physical, but it got stuck in the storm in Memphis. We took a photo of the materials we had shipped though, so I do have those photos that we can circulate after the call if you'd like, or if you'd like to share now, I can screen share and show the photo of that as well, the brick.
We can do it. Why don't we go continue to go through the elevations, and we can look at the photo a little bit later.
Sounds good.
Very good. Thank you, Archit. All right, so here you can see the materials accurately represented. As Archit mentioned, I'll start with the brick design here. As he has noted, the intent of this design is to create a building that looks like it was not just plopped down here recently, but rather repurposed. And as he's mentioned, we're proposing to do brick infill where there may or may not have been windows, a soldier course in each, a soldier course at the rear black brick component at the columns, and also to create some architectural interest on that rear portion of the building. You're also seeing a metal coping at the rear portion of the building, as well as at the front facade. And that is to give architectural interest and again, meet the intent of the ordinance. That is a metal coping painted to be similar to the coping at the patio. You will also see that we are proposing the use of stucco. I want to point out that our interpretation of the ordinance was that the total wall area of the building needed to be 30% stucco or less, which we felt we had achieved, but we do recognize that it is per facade. So we just ask that you take that into consideration when looking at this, as we did try to meet the intent of the ordinance. As you can see here, we have the patio elevation. We are utilizing planters to delineate the patio area. We have repetition in our windows here across the front and the side elevation to give architectural interest. We did reduce the mullions in the window to give the effect of a more of an existing older building. We have a tile base here down at the foundation of the building. And then as you see here, the green screen that will be sort of a living wall, if you will, that we will cover in landscaping or ivy that is appropriate for the area. Again, we're proposing a build, even though this building does face a shopping center, we are proposing four-sided architecture. And I'm trying to think if there's anything. Arch, is there anything I am forgetting that you want to point out?
No, I think we covered all the key aspects of the design. I think that the patio, as mentioned for the site work, we wanted to be mindful of that stormwater, not have any structural effects towards the outer edge of the curb. So the loose planters, not only to adhere to the stormwater requirements, but also to open up and inviting atmosphere on facing the main street, getting more of a public invite almost to activate this patio along the building. So the thought is to keep that pedestrian scale, inspired by the design guidelines and the historic district, and present a building that looks like it's been there forever.
Thank you, Archit. And I also want to point out that while we do not have our official sign package ready as yet for this meeting, we do intend to bring it back to the March meeting. What you're seeing here represented on the elevations in terms of signage, we do feel is accurate in terms of the amount of square footage. I know there was maybe a question as to whether or not it met the requirements of the code, but we do believe that it is in compliance.
Melanie, speaking to Arch's point a minute ago, I think it's important, since it is in the downtown and went through a historic review. I think it's important that you kind of highlight through your narrative that you sent into the city with the board and tell them the exact details. And maybe Arch, it's a better one at it, but tell the exact details of how it meets or how you feel it meets the downtown historic district guidelines, and show those details in specifics. The board's going to want to see a really detailed view, say of the relief in the building and the different things. So somebody can run through that.
Sure. I'll talk about some of the key things. We started with, Melanie brought it really well. Like, we wanted to make sure it's a four-sided architecture that feels coherent on all sides, and at the same time, the challenge with a building to look old can also be, one small footprint, continuous materials. So by breaking up the two different materialities, also almost looks like two different buildings that we are attaching together and taking over as one program could be another way to feel the historic district when you walk downtown. And another aspect of overall materiality was the guidelines that were given, and we started with the masonry walls, which is classic. That something will last a long time, durable, feels that it's been there for a while, and to contrast that with some of the stucco that we thought, and as Melanie pointed, our assumption was 30% of the whole facade, so or the whole building, so we complied for the 30% overall, but we recognized that on the front facade we didn't. But we added a lot of other details that are more, may seem minuscule, but they add to it. For example, the canopy, we have the C-channel perimeter that is an actual steel channel that isn't painted to give that industrial feel. We Also put these window infills with the brick that's painted to match the stucco. Melanie, if you mind zooming in, if you don't mind zooming in, the detail of that is, you know, to create a perimeter soldier course, also something that could be a nod to the historic, you know, infilling the previous windows. The glazing itself too, we wanted to have the larger panes of glass, taller windows, everything, the scale itself of the building, as well as where we decided to put the canopy height was to keep that pedestrian scale and still be urban and part of the historic district, similar to the other buildings there. The back portion of the building, which typically, you know, in a normal building, there's a back to the building, but our building doesn't have a back. We are all four sides, and to celebrate that masonry, we also added some green screen product. With the company itself is called Green Screen. They have standard details. There's an expansion clip that attaches directly to the masonry or a concrete wall, whichever one it is. And then there's a continuous landscape bed underneath it, so the ivy can grow on it as well. We also put a thicker coping, metal coping on the back volume to kind of tie it together with that seat channel on the patio, so they all feel cohesive in that sense as well. I believe I touched base on the patio as well. Brad, is there anything you think we missed, or would you like to highlight a little bit more?
Yeah, I think you're pretty good there. I know we sent over some comments from Mr. Ward, and I think you guys had some meetings with him. One of the things that he talked about was the turnbuckles on the front. He felt was a pretty important addition. How are you addressing that canopy and its historic look without the addition of the turnbuckles?
Our assumption with the C-channel, I think one of the views, Melanie, is like closer up to the patio, if you don't mind showing that, was, you know, here you can see some of the reveal of that C-channel and the shadowing, and that steel perimeter, as well as the wood infill underneath. It's this beautiful honey exterior oak, and it's curated with the seals. So our thought was that is the experience, that when you're at the patio, you get the feel of the building and interact with, and that is where we focus the aspect of the historic instead of the turnbuckles.
So when I saw the initial renderings that were in our package, this is Frank. My initial reaction was that it looked very contemporary, not historic. I think since then you've added the brick infill, because I think what was in the package was all stucco, and I think that helps a good bit. I still feel like it's not quite there. Maybe the turnbuckles that Mr. Ward is suggesting would help, because that perspective right there, to me, still looks very contemporary.
And Frank, this is Richard Kramer. I agree too. We've got if this is going to be an historic industrial look, it needs some more. It needs some more architectural features to create that.
Maybe some more brick, and even the furniture and umbrellas out front probably should be metal instead of that contemporary look. Like black metal or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, the umbrellas right now are metal. They're just silver.
Yeah, I think as it is, you know, this building is surrounded by a sea of red brick, right? And it doesn't have to be red, it doesn't have to be the same, but everything around it looks very, you know, traditional. And I think this still needs a little bit more to get it to look historic.
Frank, I agree. And another concern I have too is this center hasn't done a good job of concealing rooftop units. So I'm not sure where, if there are rooftop units, where they're going and so forth. So you're obviously going to have some kitchen hoods and things of that nature. So
yes, those will be. We intend to fully screen those.
okay. Well, we just like Melanie. We just like to make sure that is being done. We hear that from applicants, but like a sightline study
Sure.
will help us understand that better.
Absolutely.
And just to be clear, I think it's a good looking building. I just think it's a fit. It's a issue with, you know, how it fits with the area.
Sure, we understand. I mean, we understand it's a little more of a streamlined design, but we would hope that the board would recognize that there are elements in this that are harmonious with the, you know, the historic intent of the design guidelines, with a little bit of our brand identity still in here. You know, I think we can accommodate some of the requests that have been made. You know, we would just ask that the board also consider some of the existing conditions that are shown here and allow us to maybe still keep some of that identity in this sea of red brick, as you have noted.
Yeah, and I think we're fine with, you know, speaking for myself, I'm fine with that. You know, I don't think you're off by 70%, right? I think another, you know, 10 or 20% modifications to this just to add a little more historic look to it.
Sure.
Right. So I don't think it's a start over. I think it's just, just needs a little bit more.
Very good.
I agree. I'm compelled to concur with those thoughts, Melanie, that you expressed, and Frank too. You've got an opportunity here to tweak this with some rustication that will improve the architectural presentation on that corner.
Sure.
Because I have to say that you can present something better that fits the look that you're being asked to get better than the other things that are nearby.
I like it a whole lot better than the Burger King.
Right. It is a vast improvement, I would hope.
Quick question for you on so the white area, I'll call it the white box.
Sure.
I guess you can dine in, for instance,
yes,
in that area, and then the black box is, and that's primarily maybe where the kitchen is, or the kitchen functions and the cooking happens.
Actually, there's a portion, as you can kind of see here, that you will be able to dine in this area. The kitchen and is more on the other side. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting it back over there. Archit, do you want to add to that? I know we don't
Sure, yeah, no, it's you're right. The back volume is more back of house, but it actually blends really well. That was part of the thought process when we were designing this, is to not totally separate still. So when you're in the dining, you're actually interacting in the dark volume still. And then so partially maybe one fifth of the dining room is part of the black volume and the darker one, and then the restrooms are there as well. And then the kitchen is the mechanical kitchen, all that is L-shaped. The bulk of it is in the darker volume, but where you see this bump out for the drive-up window, there's a L-shaped, you know, kitchen, open kitchen in there as well that, you know, faces the dining
Archit or
room.
Melanie, do either one of you happen to have a floor plan that you could pop up?
Not yet.
That'll help kind of explain. You don't have it yet?
It's still being fine-tuned. We will have, I'll get that to you, Brett, as soon as we can, and we will have that for our next meeting.
Okay.
So Brett, it sounds like, of course, in some of our workshop discussions, you thought this may be more of a cursory review. And it sounds like from Melanie, they're planning to come back to us next month.
Yeah, I think we just need to give them some great, some great comments and feedback, and I think we've done so far. Okay. Melanie, and for Archit and you guys, this board isn't one that could do a variance to allow intent.
Right.
They can try to understand that intent, but they can't give a variant to the code. So we still need to try to hit the code and hit that design, for the board's information. I think there's some great parts to this, and I think everybody agrees. I think they're trying to hit the mercantile. So they've got the really large storefront, open pane glass on the bottom, and then the 3/1 kind of look with just separating into the three parcels at the top there, the windows. They've got a low shelf at the bottom. So it would have been, you know, traditional, what you would have seen in a 20s, 30s era Main Street view with that, you know, looking into the storefront from the big, big windows as you're walking the sidewalk. So there's some great things here. I like the use of the steel beam. Archit, I had thought in one of our original meetings, you had said, or somebody said, that the black part of the building replicated that steel beam look for the cornice. Has that changed?
Yeah, it's still metal, just for the detail and ease of, you know, waterproofing on that and the brick piers, because we have relieved corners now. I think in one of the iterations you had seen that before. That was more like a solid volume.
Okay.
So, but the look and the color would match, and it's still metal, and it's the same thickness as well.
Okay.
Melanie or anybody, have you guys done this design anywhere else
No,
in the
sir.
country?
This is original to the city of Alpharetta.
Okay.
I have a quick comment on the elevation with where if the turnbuckles are added. I've been looking at some. I Googled some historic Southern mercantile looks, and something I'm seeing when there's with some turnbuckles is there's a roof. There's a image, and it has the same similar canopy. It has turnbuckles added to it, and there's even I'm trying to figure out how to break up that line of ephes above the roof, above that canopy line.
You put some medallions up there.
Well, I'm looking at an image. It actually has there's windows above the canopy line, and the turnbuckles come up above those windows. There's actually a row of windows. Just an interesting look. I don't know what that does as far as adding light to the interior and that kind of thing. I'm just trying to figure out a way to break up that solid line of ephes above the roof line, above the canopy line, excuse me. Sorry, an image.
Yes, sir. I mean, if you want to share that with Brett, you know, he can certainly forward that along to us.
Yeah,
Or Pat, you can share your screen if you want to.
Sometimes you could.
It's not on from my laptop. I'm doing it from my desktop.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a similar example, you know, on I think it's Broad Street next to the ice cream shop. There's I don't know what there's a clothing, I think like a clothing store there. Here, do you want me to, maybe I can share my screen and show that?
Absolutely.
Please.
Show that part just as an example. Hold on a second.
Melanie, you may have to do your stop share.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay, share screen. Let's see here.
Hello, Mrs. Cook.
Send it to you if you want to share it when you get it.
Okay, it says I'm screen sharing.
There you go.
We'll see it, Frank.
All right. I mean, it just as an example, see, it's got the sort of the supports going back, and they also have sort of some vertical detail there in the.
It's like a pile.
I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing it?
No, I've got something that says a leader in 2020 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Meeting Solutions.
We can see.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see
Holly,
it.
Holly can see it.
Isn't that the weirdest thing?
I think you've been hacked.
I don't doubt it.
I think it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting thing, though, Frank. And let me share Pat's as well. He's got a good picture too here that he just emailed me.
Hey, Brett, I might need to log on. I don't know what's going on with mine. I don't have any video. And it happened when Frank took over.
Use your error.
Sure, blame it on me.
Well, since
Can you guys see that, the UG White mercantile?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think that's, the one that Frank showed is in our downtown in city center development. I think this is a great view here too, to do something above and I'll let you go back, Melanie. I'll cancel this out. To go back to, to go above that canopy, maybe that helps to break that up. Another suggestion that someone had, if you can flip to the other side of the building, Melanie.
Let's see.
So for the board, where they have the brick infill, can you see that in kind of those 4 areas there between the lights?
Yep.
Somebody suggested taking that brick straight vertical to that top coping. And then that would allow you to repeat something around the other sides above the windows. It wouldn't necessarily have to be all of them, but that would help break up some of that area up there as well. For me, Melanie and Archit, I think the turnbuckles did a couple of things. It helped break up that area. It also added to something that it seemed like we would see more historically, like what we just did in those 2 pictures.
Sure.
What would have had to happen in this engineering here is, I don't know that in the 20s they would have figured out how to cantilever that thing out there that well. They would have supported it, so I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, Brett, I got one more comment and something else you kind of saw back with mercantile, quote unquote, is there any way to put something like a mural or something like that on one of these blank walls?
That's funny. I was going to suggest the same thing. Way to go, Pat.
Thanks, Hall.
I mean, that would help solve the breaking it up. And it would maybe, since the other side is the more kitchen, this side would maybe lend to doing a glass thing or something above the canopy. We've still got that issue on the front though, that until they really figure out how they're going to address the 30% on the front, I think that's going to affect how they address how they work to break up the 2 sides.
You see where the call out goes to B? I'm looking at it. It looks like a B2, or it looks like that portion of the wall there. Maybe that's a place for something like a mural or something like that. It just can't be signage. I understand that. I was going to
say, to be clear, doesn't that count towards the overall square footage of signage?
No, so long as you don't do a mural that, like, for example, was a hamburger,
right,
or a milkshake,
your logo.
Or your logo. Yeah, if it's just a mural, we do have an art commission now, so they would work on that, but it just wouldn't be advertising. It would be plain. You would hire an artist to do something there, and that would be, that's a great spot.
Okay, I can tell you just from what I know, the mural is not normally the way we would want to go, but I think if it would, I guess my question is, can the mural be painted on the stucco and leave the stucco at the 30 as it is? Or does it need to be painted on also on a brick surface?
It could be, but again, it's kind of I'm not sure it's just another way to add architectural detail through that. And if y'all are more into, that architectural detail being hard, that's fine as well,
Right. Okay.
I'm just throwing out images of what, mercantile can mean so many things to so many different people. I'm just a dumb plant guy. I gotta look it up with images. But I'm just suggesting images from what I can do by looking up true mercantile from 1920s, that sort of range, which is what this board is really trying to push you towards.
Yes, and we respect that. And I think, we did our best to, again, to meet the ordinance and to show a more mercantile style building while still keeping, some of our identity. I think that the suggestions that you all have offered are valuable, and I can already sense Archit's wheels turning. We have had conversations about some things that we can do and accommodate the board's requests. I think the images that you've shown are helpful, and we will certainly, take that back to our team and consider them. You did bring up something that I wanted to touch on because I know is also important, which is landscaping. I know that we haven't really gotten to that as yet. We did touch on the green screen, that we'll have some sort of English ivy or some sort of vine that is native to the area. Are there any other, based on these renderings, and I apologize, I don't have the landscape plan open, are there any other comments about the landscaping?
Is your landscape architect available to present it?
I believe he is. Terry, is Andrew on? Or Paul, sorry.
This is Sarah
Sarah.
Spencer
Sarah.
with Peter Frawley's office. He won't be in attendance today, but I could screen share our revised landscape plan. if you'd
Okay,
like.
Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move on to landscaping?
Oh, I apologize. I didn't know.
I think we should. I think we've given enough comment about the building, and let's let the wheels turn and let's look at landscape, because landscape is it's a very important part of the historic downtown, especially in this area that we really have none. And so we're really establishing that streetscape kind of area and thought process. We've got the new Starbucks just down the way. We've got a great new heavily landscaped residential area just a couple hundred feet down the road and across the street. So y'all are really you're really going to establish the plan here. So I think it's a very important part that we dive into.
Sure. Sarah, I'm going to stop screen sharing. Do you have your landscape plan up and ready to go?
Yes, I do. Just one second.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Can everybody see that? I hope.
Yes.
All right. And good morning, members of the board. Very happy to be here to present this. And as you guys were talking about, to kind of hopefully set a little bit of a precedent for some of your new commercial areas along Haynesbridge, although there's been quite a bit of development along there already. Just give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. So I have it zoomed in for a little bit, but I'll zoom back out just a little bit to show the overall, sheet and whatnot. And happy to obviously get this over to Brett and anybody else for a little bit more of a complete plant list that you can see when it's further zoomed out. We'll go with the rendering now. It's the easiest to share. So, and we have revised this based on the comments that were given after the last meeting for DRB. So we've kind of taken the notes to incorporate some additional kind of Southern heritage plants, some historic plants to help tie that in with the overall aesthetic that you're going with. So we'll just start with, I guess, the street front moving in from Haynesbridge Road. And we were asked to, we do have large overhead power lines. So we are having to propose understory trees instead of the usual typical overstory canopy trees. So we've also included 2 additional trees to that streetscape to kind of make up that difference.
Can you walk us through what those are?
Absolutely. So we originally had proposed all of the hearts of gold red buds, but we wanted to break that monoculture up. And so we've proposed 2 of the flowering dogwoods on either side to kind of take advantage of the larger landscape area. Also make sure that they stayed out of the sidewalk and impose on just crowding essentially any of the pedestrian experience. but to still provide those understory trees. So we would propose 2 of the flowering dogwoods on either end, and then your hearts of gold red buds along the kind of the interior there. And let's see, we would have this pedestrian connection here with the sidewalk, and then have we were proposing Rose Creek Abelia, some of your kind of shorter ones, stepping up to what we proposed heavy metal switchgrass, and then to a shamrock, winterberry or holly, also to help be able to incorporate those plantings into the proposed rain garden that would be here, that would also have additional plantings such as, for zone 4 and zone 5 for your rain garden, that would also incorporate some wildflower mix. To the zone 5 planting area, you would have black-eyed Susans, coneflowers, ironweed, and some additional yellow Indian grass. So even though this right now looks green, it wouldn't be, it's not your traditional, turf area.
Sarah?
Yes. Yes.
Quick question on that area, which is
Yes.
the bioretention, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing a lot of perennials,
Mm-hmm.
which you may, in my opinion, perennials in a commercial setting don't last very long. Black-eyed Susan, all of that you're mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
Are those come straight out of the Blue Book?
They did. Yep, we looked, and
Just
this is
explain the
also
bioretention idea and what's the idea behind it, I guess.
well, I think it was, and Terry may be able to provide additional explanation on that based on how they were proposing to do their stormwater management and treatment on site. But it would be just an additional stormwater, I guess, management technique. We used one recently on the Lazy Boy Alpharetta site that's further down the other direction off of Haynes Bridge Road. And these were some of the similar plantings, and they would be perennial here, but they would be behind the evergreen shrubs as far as from visibility from the road. They would have some winter texture and a little bit different. So they would be, seasonally changing, but hopefully incorporate kind of with the overall landscape that would, again, also have the evergreen shrubs, but then with the grasses that would add the ornamental texture, I guess, through the different seasons.
Gotcha.
But from the stormwater capacity, it was just more of an additional treatment, and to hopefully just incorporate other plantings other than just the typical grassing that's used in those.
So is there going to be an actual swale that runs through it, and these plants are going to be in it? Or
yes, it's a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There is a bit of a berm. Sorry about this. Let's see if we can. And where these plants are located are a little bit kind of on the contour and on the berming. So your lower planting here would be your zone 4, which would be able to handle more continual moisture. And those are the plants that would include the ironweed and Indian grass and things like that. And then here, kind of this honeycomb pattern here would be your zone 5, which would be more of a wildflower mix that would be incorporated with the grassing, and then the trees and this row of your winterberry hollies would be a little bit higher contour as well for that kind of berm enclosure for the rain garden.
Okay, thanks for zooming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be kind of the entrance. They have the proposed sign for Shake Shack here that would have a lower planting of gumbo pink azalea or similar there to kind of create the visibility, but still incorporate those kind of more southern heritage plants. I think Melanie spoke to the planters here to kind of delineate the patio area. Those would be planters that would fit with their overall architectural package and or with their furniture package. So those specifically have not been specified, but those would also be planted with seasonal color and be able to be changed out, I guess, just per season style and whatnot for those. But the north side of the building here with the green screen, we were proposing cast iron or aspidistra to be able to kind of handle that heavier shade on the north side, but again, still incorporate that historic and heritage planting. And also the proposed plantings for the green screen were not ivy. They were actually going, and this was kind of a late revision, so it's not that they were misleading, but that would be a climbing hydrangea, which would be deciduous, but with the green screen, you would still kind of maintain that texture and that aesthetic change on your facade through the year. But the climbing hydrangea would again kind of nod back to the historic plantings. And then we would propose an evergreen clematis or Clematis armandii on the south side, on the south exposure of this green screen. And these would be the wall-mounted panels, and again, to be specified with their architectural plans as far as how those will be fastened based on what wall materials they have there. An additional, just as a note too, we did remove all of the sod and turf grass on the site. So it would be all plantings all the way around other than what would be needed to maintain this rain garden at the front of the property as well. We would, as Terry addressed on this north side with the existing landscape strip between us and our property and the bank, that would be refreshed. It would be American hornbeams here in the landscape islands, and then trident maples that would be here in the landscape strip, also to kind of take note of this existing drive-through canopy here, and just kind of make sure not to encroach or plant things that would obstruct.
Sarah, what is the ILE, those 6 ILEs?
Those are Emily Bruner hollies.
Are those in the legend?
They are. They're
Okay.
they're
Trees,
just
gotcha.
yeah, sorry. Yes, those are 6 Emily Bruner hollies, and then we also did propose 1 camellia, again, just to kind and try to locate it so that it would be sheltered, kind of with the dumpster, but kind of give them an additional just seasonal appeal, I guess, in addition to the hollies there. And
Sorry to interrupt. And you've mentioned several times, heritage plants.
Mhm.
Can you walk us through what you are considering the heritage plants, maybe just in the legend?
Yes, just 1 second. And we could break those out too in future submittal if that helps, but it would be, it'd be your cast iron plant, your azalea, camellia, the clematis. We do have a few oak leaf hydrangeas proposed, but they would be on the southern planting strip, but still under the proposed canopy trees. We also have the climbing hydrangea, and then we have a few of the double file viburnums as well. So
Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We did still try to maintain the required evergreen screening with the hollies on the outside edge to screen from the parking, but then try to incorporate all these kind of different textures and some more of the I guess southern plant palette.
Yeah, the area that needs to screen the drive-through
Mhm.
and the area that needs to screen the back of house, which would
Okay.
be planned right. I'm just, the back of house especially, I'm concerned about that view because it's back of house. There's doors that come off it. There's usually kitchen items that pile up, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
How heavily evergreen screened landscape is that?
These were proposed Carissa hollies. So I guess we're also kind of working with kind of a narrower planting strip out here. So, you know, try to keep the maintenance involved so it's not completely overreaching over the curb. But so these would be mature 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, ideally. Obviously, maintenance always comes into play with that. And again, here would be another row of the Carissa hollies as well.
So that area you've got the hand moving over right there.
Mm-hmm.
I know my preference would be to put in something that gets bigger.
Okay.
And screens better.
Okay.
You know, that can get to at least a 5-foot height.
Sure.
You've got the room there to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's, in my opinion, it's just a little too low
Sure.
to screen that back of house.
Okay.
And then real quick, if you can, what are we doing to help screen that drive-through? What's the tallest plant you've got in there that's evergreen?
That would be here. This drive-through area, sorry, on the south side.
Yes.
That would also be the Carissa hollies between the parking. I guess it would be 2 feet clear for any vehicular overhang, obviously, and then the Carissa hollies here. But then you would have a few taller plants with the viburnum, the grasses, you know, when they mature through their season as well. Hollies here and some oak leaf hydrangeas would be scattered in there as well. So
I think in there, I prefer to see something, again, taller, evergreen.
Okay.
To help screen that drive-through a little bit better.
Okay. We could find something maybe that's a bit more consistent to kind of make these two sides then.
Yeah, I like the mix of the other accents and perennials, and I like your mixes of what we're terming heritage plants, and you know you're doing what you can do in the in the green garden area.
Sure.
And I think overall, from what we've seen to start with to this iteration is it's a 180 in my opinion. What do you think, Mr. Owen?
I concur with that. I'm impressed that they went with the Nissa instead of the I'm trying to compare the other plant, the maples on the rear of the building, and I like the variety. I'm impressed that they've accomplished this much since we had previously talked about it. And the thing I would suggest, Sarah, and this is a challenge for us all the time, is to somehow direct the way those plants are cared for as they grow, because you've got space for those plants to do what they're supposed to do. And the challenge there is to prevent somebody from coming in there and whacking them down.
Right. Yeah. I'm personally, especially after having worked for a landscape contractor in the past and done commercial maintenance, it always makes me nervous when you see those electric hedge trimmers come out. And we did try to kind of site these plants and give them the room to grow. So maybe that would be something that we can add on the plan as far as a bit of a maintenance direction and call out that says, you know, these plants, you know, don't prune these, you know, until needing to be selectively pruned, or the grasses to be removed, you know, at the very end before the new spring growth comes out.
Bingo. Yes.
Yeah. I always see that in the landscapes, and you know, I feel like I understand, you know, the contracting companies need to come out and be the most efficient with their maintenance, but they always seem to cut the ornamental grasses too early, and I'm like, you're not even taking advantage of that whole texture that they provide through the winter, and kind of that
Sarah, thank you. That is so profound. Yeah. By the way, you may not know this answer, but do you know if the maintenance contractor for this landscape is going to be doing the whole shopping center or just this site?
That might be a question to ask Melanie, as far as if they have anybody lined up already.
The honest answer to that is no, nobody is lined up. I think I can be 90% certain that this would be individually maintained.
I don't really know that there's a whole lot of other landscape on this in this center that that
Yes.
gets any maintenance, or if it's even there. So I would hope that, yeah, that we that Shake Shack takes care of this and doesn't leave it to a landlord, or if they get pushback from the landlord, that they let the city know so we can push back as well. And I think our push could be a little harder than the landlord.
Sure.
Understood.
If, say, the landlord said, no, you got to cut that stuff down, I don't want it there, kind of thing.
My last comment is, and you guys probably have heard it so many times from me on the board, is next door you've got Starbucks, and they've got an established street tree program, scape theme going, if you will. And they use crab apples and service berries as their street trees out in the landscape strip. And they've got the forest pansy red buds just behind the walk.
Okay.
And my only comment to your streetscape there is, I personally always like to, these are the first two buildings going in there to reestablish this corridor. And I always like to see a theme continued, rather than standalone postage stamp sections. So I like the trees that are used out there, but do they correlate next door to Starbucks, or down the street with Starbucks, that kind of thing?
And service berries were on the recommended list for the understory as far as what Georgia Power has allowed. Availability wise, though, I was not able to find any right now that would be that same, at least a 3-inch caliper and standard trunk. So maybe if there's any wiggle room, or we can go out and look to see what they used, are they standard trunk or multi-trunk service berries? Because I think we could definitely incorporate those either instead of the flowering dogwoods, or at least, if anything, at least change the red buds to the forest pansies. So
Yeah,
at least those would match.
There's crab apples that they used as well.
Okay.
The only thing that I find goofy about Starbucks is they alternated. They went service berry, crab apple, service berry, crab apple, and it starts getting a little strange to me. It starts getting a little trite, if you will.
Right.
So anyway, I just encourage, let's start this thematic streetscape through here rather than these postage stamp sections.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with that. Okay. Thank you.
Great job, though.
The planters around, we have not talked about the planters around the patio. Are we going to, as far as what they are?
I believe Melanie had that in a
so
in their rendering.
Yeah, and Sarah, you did state accurately that those are sort of just for representation purposes at this time. I expect that we will have a specification for you on those planters. I mean, what you're seeing is similar to what the look that we would like to proceed with. But as far as an exact specification, I don't have that for you as yet.
I think.
Hey, Melanie,
yes,
can you go back to the elevations, Melanie, and show that patio?
Yes.
Let me do my stock screen share.
Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Great job, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Well done.
I have to say, overall, you guys have done a great job of kind of reorienting the building, because I feel like we're looking at the back end of the Burger King when we're on Haynesbridge Road there, and you've kind of refaced it so that now the patio is facing Haynesbridge, and we're not looking at a dumpster and a transformer and a menu board in the back of house where BK currently sits. So good job on that.
Thank you.
So Melanie, just a suggestion that we were tossing around in one of our informal staff reviews. Have you all selected at all or thought about your furniture on the patio there yet? Because we were kind of thinking that commercial kind of wicker, plasticky wicker wood top kind of stuff would really go with your southern plant material and things. The what's shown here, which a lot of times is just, you know, like it is with the landscaping in these pots, you know, a lot of times just a whatever was on the view that you had to choose from, but it's really modern feeling. So we just had that suggestion, wondered if Shake Shack had nailed that down yet.
What you're seeing here is what I believe we intend to propose. I think we felt with the metal tops, it was a little more industrial looking, sort of a recycled, repurposed material. The green and white colors giving a little more natural palette. You know, Archit, I don't know that there has been any discussion of an alteration to those tables. That's kind of, that is something you guys that Shake Shack uses at other locations. Is that correct?
Correct. Firmob, there's a high-end furniture brand called Firmob, and that's what they have been using from the original location at the Madison Square Park, the original Shake Shack that kind of propelled the brand. And these are very high quality, durable, not just a typical metal table. Shake Shack is very brand conscious of sustainability, and their motto stands for something good. So every material, every furniture we select is high quality and durable for their brand purposes.
Yeah, no, and you know, it's, I mean, I'm not part of the voting board, so it's really going to be a board, you know, between you and y'all and the board. We appreciate the, you know, the high end materials because it, you know, it is it's a, you know, the Southern Sun's a problem, you know, and it just really beats down there. So it was just a suggestion from us to, you know,
I mean, I think if it's any consolation, as Archit mentioned, this is some, you know, while the building itself is unique to Alpharetta, this is something that has been used, I would almost argue, since the inception of the brand. And so there is some, I don't want to say historic nature, if you will, but some history to the product and what we're showing here.
Totally think it makes sense.
Thank you.
Okie doke.
Any of the board members have any further questions or?
I just realized that looking at this rendering, they actually have some posts that hold up their canopy or awning on this end.
Yes, sir. Those are again the same metal posts painted to match the coping.
They're steel too.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from board members this afternoon? Comments? So it sounds like you're coming back to us, Melanie.
Well, we like you so
next
much.
Month.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, you know, while we tried to have as complete a package as we could for this meeting, we are kind of on what we'd like to think is an expedited path. So we just got everything together that we could. As I mentioned, we did not have our formal sign package, but we will have that for you next time. We do respect the fact that what we're bringing to you is a little more modern mercantile look, if you will, and fully intended to receive the feedback that we did today. So it is our hope that at the next meeting, you know, we will meet your comments and achieve approval.
Okay, Doug. Well, our next meeting will be in exactly 4 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So it'll be March 19th.
Yes, sir.
2021. And I'm not sure whether it will be virtual or in person. If it's in person, then we can certainly take a look at the materials firsthand that you're proposing.
Yes, sir.
The samples.
Yeah, we're hoping it's in person. It was just a quick issue that we had to deal with quickly. And then Melanie is, hopefully she's got power back now, but she's out in Dallas, so they're in a hot mess out there. So
that's a good way to put it. Yes, sir. So and Brett, to confirm, the submittal deadline for the March 19th hearing is March 1st, correct?
Let me look at a calendar. I mean, that's the typical,
That's
yes.
Monday. Yeah, that's Monday. That's a Monday.
First
March
Monday.
1st is Monday.
It is a full 3 weeks for March. So if you need a few extra days, just let me know.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okie doke. All right, very good. Melanie and team and crew, thank you for your presentation. Well done this morning and now this afternoon. So
Thank you.
I certainly hope the Dallas area recovers very quickly and you get power going and get some warm temperatures out there as well.
Me too. Thank you so much. We thank you for your time this morning.
So we don't need any motion whatsoever since we're considering it cursory.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion.
Yep, just cursory. All right, very good. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shake Shack team. Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
We'll
See you soon.
be hearing from you and seeing you next month.
Yes, sir. See you in March.
All right.
Take care.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess there isn't any public comment on that. Well, with there being no further business and with no objections from fellow board members, because everybody is muted, this meeting is hereby adjourned.